Okay, Alexander, let's talk about North Korea and what's going on there. We haven't covered North Korea in a while, but it looks like they're ramping up their weapons development, and it looks like they're getting close to a nuclear weapon as well. At least that's what it seems like. What's going on in North Korea?
Yeah, I think these are concerning developments, and it's worrying that they're not getting the right amount of attention. We've had two major military displays from North Korea over the last few weeks. One was in October, one has just happened. We've also had the North Korean Party Congress and a set of speeches from Kim Jong-un. And the North Koreans have now put up their new weapon systems on display. And they've also provided a detailed report about them. This is something quite new, by the way. North Korea doesn't usually publicize much about its weapons programs, but it's gone out of its way to do so this time. Now, you have to take everything with some, skepticism, because what comes out of North Korea, you never know what is propaganda and what is fact. But uh, what we can say with some confidence is concerning enough. At the big military display in October, they displayed a very large liquid propelled intercontinental ballistic missile, which can certainly reach the United States if it works, as the North Koreans say it can. And it was displayed on a large transporter erector vehicle, which shows that it's road mobile. And it seems that this vehicle, which is very large, in fact, apparently the biggest such vehicle in the world, was developed by North Korea itself. Then, in the military display a few days ago, they showed a solid fuel sea launched ballistic missile and announced that they are in the process of building a nuclear powered submarine, which is presumably a ballistic missile submarine, which will be used to launch it. And they've also provided over the course of these military displays information about various other programs. They showed a advanced new main battle tank. There's some discussion about how actually functional this is, but it looks fairly impressive. We don't know much about its electronics. They showed a large number of new artillery systems. They also showed a set of air defense missile systems, which appear to be based on Russian or Russian derived technology, and which certainly look a lot more advanced than anything they've shown before. And on top of that, they announced plans to develop reconnaissance drones and to start building and launching artificial satellites. Now, I come back, we can't be sure how much of this is real and how much of it is not, but the North Koreans have undoubtedly succeeded in developing nuclear technologies. They've exploded, they've set off nuclear devices, they've shown photographs of what looks like a genuine hydrogen bomb. They've apparently made progress in miniaturizing these weapons, and so that they can actually install them on their missiles. And so we can't just assume that all of this is a bluff. So when they're talking about nuclear submarines, reconnaissance satellites and reconnaissance and strike drones, it is worrying. It's also worrying that they seem to be getting some assistance from other powers. The main battle tank seems to be taking at least ideas or themes from the latest Russian tanks, including the Russian Armata tank. And the liquid fueled missile seems to use technology that was developed in Ukraine when Ukraine was part of the Soviet Union. And the transport erector vehicle seems to be based on Chinese models. So they seem to be getting ideas from various places, whether by espionage or who knows how, but it is a major buildup. And on top of that, Kim Jong-un said that it doesn't matter who the president of the United States is. It's now quite clear that the United States is our major adversary, and it's becoming obvious that all of these military systems are being directed increasingly. They're being focused against the United States. Now, what is worrying is that this is getting no attention, and it should be getting lots of attention. And when Donald Trump was elected, elected president, Barack Obama told him that North Korea was the greatest threat that the United States faced. We know that Donald Trump made a serious attempt to engage with North Korea. He met with Kim Jong-un in Singapore and in Hanoi. We know that the American bureaucracy basically torpedoed all of that. We have reason to believe that John Bolton, on the eve of the Hanoi summit, arranged a raid of a North Korean embassy, which apparently the North Koreans were very angry about. The North Koreans say that they can't really talk to the US. They seem to be building up their weapons at an almost frenetic pace. They're getting support from some of the big powers to do it, because that's the only way they could develop these programs. And if you look and listen to Joe Biden and the incoming team, they have nothing to say about North Korea at all. They have no policy that I can see. They're not explaining how they're going to face this challenge, what their approach is going to be, whether it's going to be a return to the policies that Barack Obama had, which was some kind of containment policies. What I would say about those is that all of these weapon systems that we're seeing now, they were clearly initiated when Barack Obama was president. It takes at least a decade for programs like this to reach fruition. So they must date from Barack Obama's time. And one worries that the North Koreans are going to accelerate their program, and that countries that are have concerns about the US and its policies under Joe Biden are going to help them do it, because they see North Korea as a good way to tie down the US. And Joe Biden has no interest in this, no policy about how to face it, doesn't seem to know what to do.
Okay, so President Trump actually crossed over into North Korea, so that was a huge move. We all know that Bolton pretty much sabotaged any effort for peace in North Korea. Is it fair to say that Biden is not going to do anything with North Korea for two reasons? First reason is that the Biden administration, I don't want to say Biden, the Biden administration has already made up its mind that their focus is going to most likely definitely be on the Middle East, war in the Middle East, and perhaps maybe something in Ukraine, maybe Moldova, maybe Armenia, Azerbaijan, I don't know, maybe somewhere along those lines, but definitely the Middle East, most likely Syria. That's reason number one. And reason number two is Biden won't do anything with North Korea because North Korea is China's client state, and Biden doesn't want to do anything to upset China.
Well, that's exactly right. I think you've put your finger on it, because what is going to happen, and what's increasingly looking like it's going to happen, is that for Biden, or rather for the team around him, they're not interested in North Korea. It doesn't really compute with them. Their obsession is the Middle East, where they still want to return to all the neocon regime change policies that they pursued so aggressively and actively when Obama was president. And they're also obsessed and fixated with Russia and all the places you talked about, Ukraine, Belarus, Moldova, the Caucasus, that really brings them up against Russia. And of course, the real threats are not there. They are now, or rather the real challenges are not there. They are in the Far East with China, with which Biden seems to want better terms, and with North Korea, which, as you said, it's building up its forces at an absolutely frantic pace now. And we are at least within a measurable distance of North Korea becoming, it seems to me, a real security problem for the US. The US has to think about the fact that it's facing military challenges from Russia and from China. These are two superpowers, but it now has a micro superpower in North Korea beginning to emerge as well, saying that it doesn't matter who the president is, the United States is dead set against us. And the code there is Donald Trump tried to improve relations with us, but wasn't able to make it stick because the US government, the bureaucracy, John Bolton, people like that, stopped him doing anything. So the North Koreans are now going full tilt to build up their to build up their military and to focus it against the US. Now, this is a massive missed opportunity. Kim Jong-un had a complicated relationship with China, especially. I always got the sense that one of the reasons he wanted to open up to the US was because he did not want North Korea to be a vassal state of China. At the latest party congress, he spoke very clearly that from now on, he sees North Korea's future as an ally of China and to a lesser extent of Russia. So this possibility of drawing the North Koreans away from China and of persuading them to start to slow down their military programs has been lost. And instead, whilst Biden and his team get distracted in a sideshow, which is the Middle East and Eastern Europe, where they're up against the Russians and arguably can't achieve anything permanent anyway, this challenge in the Pacific is growing and growing fast. Another country, by the way, has noticed this, and that's Japan. And it's unsurprising that the Japanese are becoming increasingly nervous. And the new Japanese Prime Minister, Mr. Yuga, is now talking about the imperative need for Japan to establish good relations with Russia and to agree a peace treaty with Russia. And that is directly contrary to US policy at the moment. And it is also, by the way, a response to these North Korean moves. And from the Biden administration, we hear nothing at all. These people are asleep at the wheel as this car crash comes into view.
Well, they don't call him Sleepy Joe for nothing.
Absolutely.
Is there anything going on as far as Kim Jong-un and any other rumors or news about the real Kim Jong-un or body doubles or his sister, any of that stuff that we heard, like say the past 2 years, or has that all kind of vanished?
No, it hasn't vanished. It's actually been rather an interesting development because Kim Jong-un was clearly himself and he made this huge speech. I mean, he spoke for 3 days. I just fancy that. I mean, he wasn't talking all the time, but he delivered this speech to this party congress over 3 days. And there was no question at all that he was him and that he was very, very much in charge. And his sister, who was clearly making some kind of bid for at least attention, was booted off North Korea's Politburo. So she does seem to have made some kind of bid for power, and she's been demoted. She remains a member of the Communist Party's, the North Korean Communist Party's Central Committee, but she is no longer part of the senior political leadership. So it looks as if Kim Jong-un was not impressed by some of the things that his sister was doing, did see her as a possible challenger, and has reshuffled her out of the leadership, and that he is very much in charge.
Okay, great. Thank you very much for that update on North Korea. Lots going on that it looks like Sleepy Joe won't deal with.
Well, he won't deal with it.
Yeah.
He's not interested. I mean, question whether he's even aware of it, frankly. Yeah. But the people around him are not interested in this topic. He's chosen for his foreign policy team people who are interested in the Middle East, wrongly interested in the Middle East, people who are interested in Eastern Europe, wrongly interested in Eastern Europe, and people who are not interested in the real crisis, the real challenge the US is facing, which is in the Pacific. And that is really worrying. I mean, that shows a complete lack of strategic understanding.
No. Instead, they're going to focus on domestic terrorism.
Well, indeed, exactly. Exactly as happened under George W. Bush and Barack Obama. And who won? Who benefited? China did. China became stronger, and North Korea developed nuclear weapons. These policies are going to make China stronger still, and North Korea more dangerous.
All right, Alexander Arcurus, thank you very much. Guys, go to the Duran shop, pick up some merch, help this channel out, PayPal, Patreon, and subscribe Star and Bitcoin. You'll find a link down below for those platforms. And also subscribe to us on Odyssey, on Rumble, and on BitChute. You will find those links as well. Go to Alexander's channel. You will find that link as well. I also have his BitChute channel. I'll put that in the description box down below as well. And you can find my channel on YouTube and on BitChute as well. And that's it. Lots of links down below.
Lots of links down below, but do look up our other channels and find us there. You find wonderful content. We've increased the amount of content we do to an extraordinary degree. And as you can see, Alex has been working very hard, and people were asking about whether they could find us on other platforms. Well, you can, not just our main channel, the Duran, but other channels too. And do look us up on our shop. You'll find all sorts of great things there. Duran hats and Duran shirts and Duran sweatshirts and our famous and best ever magic mugs. So you'll find them all in our shop, and come to our next programs.
All right, Alexander Arcurus, thank you very much. Until next time, everybody, take care.